Great. Hey everyone. We're gonna be starting in a sec. Could somebody volunteer to watch the Calgary Slack for me? And oh, sup Calgary. I know I'm frozen, so I'm just unplugging the camera. One sec. Great. Should be back in. Wham! Alright. Yo! What up? Snap, it's yet another fine day. Let me bring up this stuff over here in a sec. And bloop. And bloop. If I could get a thumbs up or some form of emoji, if I could get a no from Peter, just anything, let me know that you're on the line. And then we'll get started here. Oh, Peter. Oh, what's Peter going to say this time? Hey, okay, nice. That's good too, yeah. Hey, so welcome. Oh man, 2 days of Nima? What? Is this the Nima house boot? No, okay. So yesterday, you talked about some really interesting stuff. You got to hop into making servers for the first time. And you got to hop into working on TinyApp. You're going to be working on TinyApp all week. This is Wednesday, so there's more TinyApp stuff. Then there's more TinyApp stuff the day after. Now, what I'm going to cover in today's lecture is partly stuff that you've already covered, right? But we're going to dive deeper into it. There's some stuff that I might talk about that maybe you won't do in TinyApp. Okay? That might just be interesting. And then there's other stuff that's going to be sort of like a walkthrough of how I want you to do parts of TinyApp. I'm going to, on purpose, structure this stuff a little bit differently than your assignments. So it's not going to be as easy for you to just copy and paste the stuff that I do from the notes into your assignments. Yeah, I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there first. Now, today's topic is, let's go here. We're going to open up desktop, week 2, day 3. Whoop. That fresh new folder. Very fresh. You can go ahead and make a new file here. It's going to be called notes.md. Save it in the right folder. Desktop. Where'd you go? Week 2, day 3. So, today is week 2, day 3. What's today's topic about? It's CRUD with Express. CRUD with Express. So yesterday, let's hop into what you did yesterday real quick. You can bring up, boop, and boop. So, yesterday's stuff. I mean, we're not going to do like a full review of what we talked about yesterday, but I just want to give you like a brief overview. Yesterday's thing with web servers in the morning was all about figuring out what the heck Express was, figuring out what a server was in general. So in the first part of yesterday's lecture, you built a server using the HTTP module. And as KV showed you, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of code to put together even a basic server with the HTTP module. You know, with enough thinking, you come to understand it, and conceivably with enough work, you can put together a neat website with it. But the HTTP module is just way too much. So we end up working with something on top of that. We end up working with Express. Where Express is this other NPM package that we install, and it's what we call a framework. It's a way of building an application. It has a lot of opinions about how you build it. So when we do stuff in Express, as we're going to do again today, we have to end up setting up routes. And that's something that I want you to think about throughout all of today's lecture, is the word routes. What routes are going to be for us, here I'm going to say routes. What routes are going to be for us are ways of interacting with and I'm going to call this the back end / server / data. So I'm going to draw a little picture here. Draw online. Draw a little picture. Sketchpad. Okay, this was from like a different thing. How do I clear all of this? Bam. No, we'll just do select everything. Delete. Easy. All right, so I'm going to draw a picture here. This here is your backend. I'm going to put a little B on it. Also known as your server. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on here. Bunch of stuff. Maybe it deals with users. In your case, it's going to be dealing with URLs. Over the course of today's demo, I'm thinking we're going to make it deal with videos, but I haven't decided yet. Right? And the server is going to deal with a bunch of information in general. And then here, can I use this? Here are a bunch of people that want to interact with the data. Okay, so one of them happens to be very big. There you go. So here are a bunch of people that want to deal with the stuff that your server can do. Right? They want to ask it questions. They want to request things. They want to say, hey, do this please for me. Now, they can't all just shout things. They can't all just say, like, do this. There needs to be some structured way of having these people talk with this thing over here. And the person who's in control of specifying the way that they're allowed to be communicated with is the server or the back end. The server is able to say, hey, listen, here are maybe the 3 things you can do. This is one of them, and this is another thing, and this is another thing. These are all the things that I'm allowing people from outside to interact with me with. The server may be able to do a billion different things, but these are the things that I'm going to say the server exposes. All right, so sometimes I use the word expose. Other times I'll use the word endpoint. So sometimes when I'm mentoring or when a mentor is mentoring with you, they might say, hey, what about that endpoint over there? An endpoint is going to be, let me select this. Endpoint is going to be another word for route. Endpoint or route. It's a route for communication. Now, some of these routes might be used to receive information. This cow over here might want to say, hey, you, get me all of the tiny URLs. Right? And instead of just kind of shouting it haphazardly, this person is going to shout it into one particular endpoint that is designated for that. It's going to shout into that particular endpoint, or again, route that's designated for that kind of communication. And so the person might say, moo, and this one here might say, hey, I just needed to make a cow sound. This one here might say, I want to create a new URL. Right? And the server says, excellent. Talk to me through this endpoint right here. So this person can make a request to that endpoint or that route. So I really want you to have that kind of internalized. That routes are really just something that the server exposes to give everybody on the outside a way to communicate with the inside. Now, what we're focusing on today is why would these people on the outside want to communicate with the inside, right? Specific kinds of things that they might want to do. And generally, I'm going to use CRUD for that. Right, we're going to see what CRUD means. I know you've already probably done a bit of readings, or somebody's already explained this a little bit, but we're going to go deep through it just to make sure there's no holes missing. Does this idea kind of make sense? Now, this arrow that I've drawn here, this arrow that's going from the cow to the server, let me move the word server inside. This arrow that's going from the cow to the server, how does the cow communicate? What does the cow have to do? There's a special way that systems on the internet can communicate with each other using a particular protocol. HTTP, right? HTTP. HTTP is going to be a combination of two things. So clients, or in our case, cows, can make requests, right? They can make requests to a server. So clients can make a request to a server using HTTP. And HTTP is going to be a protocol. HTTP means someone makes a request, someone receives that, the receiver processes, and then the receiver sends back a response. And that response is going to be made up of a status code, possibly some data, and also some headers. Headers is going to be extra little bits of information that get tacked on. And that request is going to be made up of a verb, a route, possibly some data, and also some headers. What do I mean when I say verb? What's an example of a verb? Yeah? Pardon? Sure. Verb / action. Can you give me an example of one? What's that? Get. Right? Wait, did you say running? Yeah. Tying your shoelaces. I mean, no, I appreciate it. Sweet. So a verb, an action, and what these verbs or actions are going to be are things like get, post, delete, put. There's a bunch of them, but these are the 4 that we're going to really pay attention to over the course of the bootcamp. Right? There are others. If I'm being honest, I don't even know how to use the others. Get, post, delete, and put are going to cover like 95 to 99.9% of the cases that you need. A verb, an action, it's one of these. And then the route is going to be some URL. Right? Give me some path that I can follow. Over the course of this bootcamp, you're going to hear different words kind of like referring to the same thing. For example, I've used the word endpoint, route, and path, and URL, all to mean kind of the same thing. I've also used the words verb, action, to mean the same thing over here. Just get comfortable with that. Maybe make yourself a little glossary so that you don't get too confused when you hear different words referring to the same thing. Now, the important thing here when I talk about HTTP, meaning somebody makes a request, is that this here, only a client can make a request. A client makes a request. In this case here, the receiver we call it the server. And the server cannot make requests to the client. Right? That's how HTTP works. Somebody asks and the other person answers. And if that other person asks questions, it's that whole like Dwight slaps whatever, or maybe it's the opposite. Like, we ask the questions here, right? The client asks the questions. Server only gives answers. Right? And that's really important to get. Is if a client needs something, the client needs to ask for it. The server can't just give it. So what you started working on yesterday was TinyApp. Right? You started working on playing around with Express and setting up a couple views. Now, we're going to be working a lot with EJS views today. In the lecture yesterday, did KV go into what EJS is? Just a little bit. Cool. So we're going to explore that a little bit more. In particular, what we're going to be working with is forms. I want to give you a heads up. This is going to be frustrating. Right? Just hang in there. It's going to be a little bit frustrating because there's going to be some counterintuitive stuff. So, I used the word CRUD earlier. Can anybody tell me what CRUD stands for? Yeah. Create, read, update, and delete / destroy. I like destroy more. Destroy. Create, read, update, and delete / destroy. There's another acronym. It's called BREAD. I'm just bringing this up because some people like bread more than CRUD, but they mean the same thing. Bread goes browse, read, edit, add, and delete / destroy. Now, something that I really want you to understand starting off is that CRUD and bread, they're not things. They're not like a thing that you can go like npm install CRUD. Like, that's not what we're going to be doing. CRUD is not a physical thing that you're dealing with. CRUD or bread, it's an idea. It's an idea that given a resource, or given a set of resources, given things, this is what I can do with those things. CRUD means having like God mode on when you're playing a video game. It means you can spawn things. I can create, let there be tiny URLs, right? It means you can read them. I can see everything. I'm omniscient, right? I can see anything. I can read any of the data. Update means I can update any of the data. I can change any parts of it. Not only can I create new data, but I can reach into old data and change it. And delete / destroy, that's your... Has anybody here not seen Endgame yet? No, not Endgame. Infinity War? No? Okay. Well, these are like your Infinity Stones. Like, these are all the things that you want to be able to do. And combined, you have absolute power over data. I can create, read, update, and delete or destroy the data. Similarly, this is just another acronym that says the same thing. I can either browse all the data, or read a single piece of data, or edit some data, or add some data, or delete / destroy some data. They mean the same thing. Just pick whichever one makes most sense to you. Are there any questions about conceptually what this means? Right. I want you to start looking around at things in your life and think about what a CRUD action might mean when you look at those things. Like, I could create new food. Where I cook, I make new food. That's create. I can read it. I'm looking at the food. Right? I can update it. Maybe I'll add some salt to my food. And then I'll delete / destroy, I'll eat it. Those are like philosophical kind of actions that I might enact. Now, over the course of this bootcamp, we're going to be working with a lot of data. We're going to be working with a lot of data in a couple of different ways. What we're going to be starting off working with, in the case of TinyApp, is we're working with a bunch of URLs. Right? Later on in TinyApp, you actually also work with users. I think you start off working with users a little bit, but URLs and users are going to be like our main chunks of data. There's some URLs, and there's some users. And for me to build a web app that's actually useful, I need to be able to create URLs. And I need to be able to create users and do the rest of the, what I'm going to call CRUD actions on those URLs and users. Now, the only thing that has the ability to create URLs or create users or manipulate data on the server is, lo and behold, the server itself. So if I live outside of the server, which I do, I'm not inside of the server, I'm outside of it, I need some way of communicating with the server to tell it, hey, create a new URL. Hey, create a new user, or update this user's name. So by necessity, the server is going to need to have some routes that I, on the outside, can talk to. Does that idea make sense? Now, the code that we're going to look at, it's code. It's going to be like a very kind of strict description of a series of instructions that essentially says what we just figured out right now, is that the server needs to expose specific endpoints for manipulating data. Now, this code is going to look one particular way in JavaScript. Later on in the program, when you do stuff in Rails, it'll look a different way. When you go work somewhere else and work in Python or Java or whatever, it'll look, a different way over there too. The important thing that I want you to get is that conceptually, the server needs to expose some endpoints for these particular things. So what we're going to start off with, it being 9:26 right now, what we're going to start off with is we're going to pick some data to work with. Right? I guess I'm going to need an Express server to do this stuff with. So I'm going to need an Express server to do this stuff with. I'm going to need to pick some data that I'll be working with. And then I'll need to figure out the CRUD routes for interacting with that data. All right, so whatever it is, we'll have to do create, read, update, and destroy. Then we need to make sure that not only do all these routes exist, but they're also functional, right? I need to be able to go through and have a checklist of, can I create this thing? Can I read one thing, or can I read all of the things? We'll have a little checklist that we can work through. We're probably going to make our way through, I think, reading one and reading all before the break, and then we're going to do these other ones right after the break. Just to give you a little bit of a roadmap. We'll start off by making an Express server to do all this stuff. And then we'll like pick some data. So the first thing that I need to do when I want to make an Express server. So let me make this thing real big so y'all can see. Oh, bad news. So I use this special terminal, but it's like fully broken now. Good game. Let me pop up a different one. So my terminal has a little fish in it. It makes it better. The code runs faster when you give it a little fish. Is this text up here big enough for people to see? Cool. Let me know if it's not. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, once I'm inside of my week 2 day 3 folder that I made, on my machine, I have to run this command because I've broken my machine and Node doesn't load automatically. So I have to run this command. You do not. So all I have is notes.md. I want to start off with a Node project. What is the command that I need to run? If I want to generate a package JSON. So it's actually npm init, right? I think I already made the git init joke, so I can't really recycle this one again. npm init means initialize a new Node project. If I go npm init, it puts me through this little wizard where it's like, what do you want your name to be? Week 2, day 3, sure. What version do you want to start at? And it asks you so many questions, and it's just really annoying. So instead, what I'll do is I'll go npm init -y, and -y just means say yes to everything. Just say yes. Oh, npm init -y. Ah, wham. And what this has done is it's made me a package JSON file. And package JSON file is going to be interesting for me because I will be able to load all of my dependencies in there. The first one that I want to work with is Express. So I'm just going to run npm install express, let it run its magic for a second, and now in my package JSON, I have express. You might have noticed that sometimes I run a command called cat. Cat prints out whatever file you give it in the terminal. So it's useful sometimes when I don't want to open up a file directly, I'll just go cat and print it. What I can do now is start making a server file. So I'm going to go, let's go touch, and I'm going to call this one server.js. You can call it anything. Doesn't make a difference. Right now there's nothing in it, so when I run it, nothing happens. Okay, we're going to turn up the heat. I go to server.js. I throw in a console log. I need to make sure that it works. I try to delay the start as much as possible. Like, this is me flicking on all the lights and all that. Cool. Console log works properly. We're in business. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Express. I bring in Express. I want to see what Express is. I know you already saw this yesterday, but every time I require something in, I just get really antsy. I'm like, what is it though? Oh, cool. This is all of Express. That's it. If I really wanted to, I could go ahead and try to play around with it and see, like, what does disable do? Oh, it's a function. What happens when I run it? What does search do? Apparently it's a function. I have no idea. I've never played with it. Right? But it's free. You could go ahead and you can play around with it. And as you saw yesterday, one of the things that you have in here is something that lets you create a new Express application. I'm going to bring in some code that actually lets me do that by going to the Express.js documentation. Express.js.com has a really interesting getting started thing. And I always start my applications by going to Hello World. So this code here from the Hello World is technically all you need to get started with an Express application. I'm just going to paste this code in. So it starts off with require Express. Then we create an app. We set a port variable. And then what is this? What is this thing? It's a function. It's an arrow function. I'm registering a single route that says, hey, when somebody makes a get to slash, here's what you do with the request and the response. And then I start off my application by saying that I'm listening on port whatever port. Boop. I'm listening on whatever port. You go ahead and run this. Node server, listening on port 3000. Excellent. I'm going to go to port 3000. and I got myself a good old hello world. We're in business. Now, technically, if I was to go back to my notes that I'd set for myself, I have made an Express server to do this stuff with. Check. Now, I would like to pick some data to work with. What I have as an idea right now is we could make a website where people like make a list of YouTube videos and information about YouTube videos, and also embed videos in there. So when you go to YouTube and you watch a particular video, such as we're just gonna do dogs. So here's this 10-minute dog video. If I want to like embed this on an HTML page, it actually gives me under share the option to go embed. And when I embed, I get this little iframe. And what's interesting about the iframe is the only thing that's special about it is this set of numbers and letters over here, because that's going to be the, the numbers and letters start over here. These numbers and letters over here, from B to U, is the same as the ones that you see up here. So technically, we can go find a bunch of YouTube videos and just save this part as like the ID, right? So that's something that I think we might do. And then we can like embed a bunch of videos on the page. Does that sound good? Sweet. And then I'll enlist you to go search for YouTube videos and send them over. Okay. So our theme here for the data is YouTube videos, possibly of dogs. Cats are allowed too. I don't like ferrets, so if we're putting animals in here, just a heads up, ferrets, they're like snakes. I don't get it. They're just hairy-legged snakes. So maybe stay away from ferrets. I'm kidding. Ferrets are fine, but YouTube videos are what we're gonna go with. So we're gonna have to figure out the CRUD routes for that stuff in a second. We're gonna be working with EJS. Now, bringing in EJS is always a bit of fun because EJS has opinions about how you bring it in. So at the moment, I have a get / route. That's just the one that came with the thing that I copied in. That just sends back hello world. I would like to send back, just to start off with, a page that shows me like hello world, but it's like nicely styled. Maybe it has a picture and stuff in it. So I can do that in here. If I write a bunch of stuff, I can write H1 hello world, and I can even go ahead and go style is, and then put in a bunch of stuff in here that says like color red. And now as I stop and restart my application, when I go refresh what I had before, unless I got this wrong. Snap, I got it right. Okay. Hello world is now red. I could go through and genuinely do my entire application like that. But then, honestly, probably within an hour, 2 hours, I would quit and move to the woods. I can't handle this. This is just too much. So we're going to figure out, some other better way of doing that. You saw EJS yesterday. What EJS is going to mean is it's something that we slip into the middle of our Express application between the request and the response going out. Express is going to take the response that we try to build, and it's going to pack together a bunch of nice HTML with the data that we give it. So EJS is a templating language. It's not the only one. If you hate EJS, I have good news for you. There's other ones like Pug template. So here is Pug. It's another templating language. It has a better logo than the EJS logo. So this might be your choice for your next project. For Tiny App, we are required to use EJS, so that's what we're going to go with. First things first, I need to npm install EJS. So I go into my terminal, I stop this, I go npm in EJS. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I need to tell Express now to use EJS. So I'm going to go ahead and honestly, I just Google this every time. Express EJS. And then there's a particular post on GitHub that says using EJS with Express that I just find on Google every time. But you know what? I'm going to throw that in the notes for you. I cannot think of a single time when I've been able to do this without looking at the documentation. And it's like a line. App, set, view engine, EJS. Apparently that's all I really need to do. So I can go back to here and I can say, okay, my app, before I list out my routes, I'm going to say set the view engine to be EJS, meaning every time from now on that I say render, res.render, that's going to be pumped through EJS. So res.render, and I'm just going to try and render maybe my index view. Index. There's no such thing as an index view right now. So when I start my server, it shouldn't surprise me that when I try to refresh this, I get an error that says, I can't find the index view. I'm like, yeah, I didn't make it. So now I need to go ahead and actually make the index view. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go into make a new folder. This one's going to be called views. And inside of views, I can make a new file called index.ejs. And just save it. I'm going to put absolutely nothing in here. And then I refresh. And holy moly, like I didn't even write any code and it worked. I created a new file in a particular folder. So EJS is going to be automatically hooked up to look in a particular place. I think you can change the configuration to make it look somewhere else. I think. But it doesn't really matter for us. We'll just follow the steps that they've kind of told us to have. And then in here, I'm going to go ahead and throw in my H1 that says hello, just to make sure that this is hooked up properly. And holy moly, it is. Amazing. Now, technically, every HTML document should have HTML tag around it, and then head and body. So technically, we're supposed to have this. It's not like it won't work without it, but here we go. So nothing changes. That's fine. And something that you might also notice immediately, and I think I had a couple people ask me this, is that your EJS file doesn't get syntax highlighting by default, which is super annoying, right? You're like, I want to be able to see if I missed one of these things. Or, if I miss the one, okay, if I miss the one, like, I need to see if I missed it. So in Sublime, you have access to this thing down here. So this is at the bottom right of the page. This thing over here, which when you click it, pops open a menu where you can go select the language that you want to work with. By default, there's nothing in there for EJS. So in Sublime, what you're going to have to do is go Command-Shift-P and search for install a package. So once I select install package, it takes a second. A little drop-down pops up. Just search for EJS and just pick one. So I'm going to pick the first one. We'll just see if that works. And once you've picked it, it doesn't even really show you that it's downloaded the thing. But technically now, I have EJS as one of my options. And if I click on it, I'm going to see that the syntax highlighting works. Hot tip, right? You can do that with genuinely anything. So here's my EJS. Technically, as we saw yesterday, I can start putting in template variables. That's what we're going to be working with. Okay, we've got the setup done. We've got the boilerplate done, right? Antsy to get started on the CRUD side of it. But first, we've got to sit down and actually do some planning. If my idea is that I want to work with YouTube videos, let me just check to see Calgary's got no questions. If I want to work with YouTube videos, I need to be able to say things like, create a YouTube video. This is a checklist of stuff that I need to be able to do at the end. I need to be able to see just one YouTube video. Right? See all YouTube videos. Update. I mean, technically this is up to you. Should we be able to update many at a time or only one at a time? For my demo, I'm going to say update one YouTube video at a time. And then same with destroy. You could pick to destroy a bunch of them all at once. Or I'm going to go with delete one YouTube video at a time. And what I want to also do here is figure out exactly what create is going to mean. When I say create a YouTube video, I might need a video link. I might need a video title. And maybe a video description. And I need to list this stuff out for myself ahead of time just to figure out what I'm actually going to be working with. So I'm not just bushwhacking through this project. So to see just one YouTube video, then this might mean I need to see everything like the video link, title, and the description maybe as well. And the reason I list this out is because maybe when I read all of them, I don't want to see the description. Maybe I just want to see the video link and the video title. Okay, so each one of these things is actually going to need multiple routes. I'm actually going to need multiple routes, and we'll work our way towards that. We're just going to start off with read all. I'm going to pick a route right now. You're going to see that over the course of this lecture, I'm going to have a standard for how I make my routes. So read all, first of all, is going to be a get. I'm going to need to make a get request. And the other thing is that I'm going to need to, let me just highlight that, get. The other thing is that I need to pick a path, and the path that I'm going to pick is slash URLs. Slash videos. So when I make a get request to slash videos, I should see all the YouTube videos. I could go ahead and just pretend that that already exists. I'm going to take the easy route. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go slash videos. Cannot get slash videos. Snap. I thought maybe somebody had done the work for me. I need to go through now and give myself a route for app.get slash videos. And what I'm going to make this thing do is, ideally, res.render all the videos. Maybe I'll even console log something in here. Console.log all the videos. Just so that I can see things happen in my terminal. Now, every single time that I make a change to my server, I'm going to need to stop my program and run it. So I go here now and I refresh this thing and I get a different error. And it says, hey, you know what? I found the route for videos, but I'm not able to find the view for videos. And we're like, hey, we've seen this before. I'm going to go ahead, I'm just straight up going to copy my index.ejs file here and call it videos. and go videos.ejs. I'm gonna refresh. Oh, because it renamed itself to videos EJS HTML. There you go, videos EJS. Refresh, then I get videos back. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to give this view a bunch of videos. Obviously, we haven't created videos yet, but I'm going to start off by hard coding them. I'm going to start off by going into my server, and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Let's imagine we had a bunch of videos. Here's the ID for the first one. Here's the ID for the first one, and what I'm going to do is also just give it a title, cool vid. Here's the ID for the second one. I'm going to give this another one, another title, dogs are great. So I've got like a database of video IDs pointing to titles. And what I want to do is take these videos and pass them into /videos. I can do this in several ways, but the way that I'm going to pick to do this is I'm going to go ahead and make myself a variable called template vars. This thing can be called literally anything you want. Anything you want, but the convention is to call it template vars. So template vars is going to be some object that I'm going to pass into the view. And what I can do in here is I can put in genuinely any information. And you saw this yesterday. You can write in any text. You can pass in any strings or functions. You can pass in numbers, other objects. What I'm going to do with it is I'm going to pass in all the videos. Videos. If I refresh this thing after restarting my server, nothing happens. It's okay. But what I have access to now is all of the videos in my videos EJS. This is somewhere where some people get like confused. On the incoming side in the server, I make template vars and I give it a key of videos. I give it a key of videos and I'm pointing it to my videos object from above. On the EJS side, I do not have access to the object template vars. What I have access to is directly the keys that were in there. So if I want to grab a particular video or a particular variable, so let me throw in the variable message hello world. If I wanted to access hello world from the message key, what I'm going to do over on this side is I'm going to go message. I don't need to go template vars.message. Right? I go straight up, just message. And this was a choice that the people who made EJS picked. When I go ahead and I stop my server again, restart, and refresh, now I get hello world. Right? So that's something to really remember, is the fact that on the side of the EJS, right, you're going to be working with EJS a lot over the next 3 days. No template vars dot. You just go message. Now, EJS tags are funky. They got the % signs and all that. I hate them. I think they're the worst. But we're just going to deal with them for now. What EJS tags are going to do is, well, I mean, what does EJS stand for, really? Embedded JavaScript. So I'll be able to embed some JavaScript in here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say for, and we learned a particular way to loop over objects yesterday. What was it? In. If I make a for something in, I can loop over an object. Now the object that I have is videos, and each one might be a video, but it's like a video key. Right? When we do in, it's going to loop over all of the keys in that object. This syntax here gets really weird for people. When you're embedding JavaScript, you're going to go angle bracket % for every line. For every line of JavaScript that you're putting in. So this here is a line. This here, it's another line. So I have to wrap it in the % and the angle brackets. What people get confused about is why is there no equal sign here? Well, the equal sign is a special case. You put the equal sign into the tag when you want to get the output printed to the screen. So if I now want to output the video name, I guess the video ID and the video title, I can go videos, video key, to get the particular video. That is the title. Because if I look at my server, I'm going to have to go back and forth. This is the key. This is the value at the moment. We're going to change this up as we move forward in the next half of the lecture. So for video and video keys, I might print out the video key, and I might also print out the particular value that's associated with that key, being the title. And what I'm going to find now is when I refresh this thing, for every video, I'm getting the key, and then the title, and then the key, and then the title. Obviously, it's not printed out the way I might want it to be. I can go ahead and I can mess around with this a little bit and say, hey, you know what? Instead of this being a P, maybe this could be a UL, an unordered list. And for each of these things, instead of me displaying them, you know, just meh, I'll make them list items, separated by a dash. So now it's nice and pretty. Sound good? Oh, cool. So technically now, given a bunch of data, we have a route. We have a route that spits out all of the data in a view. And if we look at our checklist, we've actually hit a good chunk of it. We now have the get all videos with the video link and the video title. Granted, there's no description yet, but we're going to be working on that in a minute. Sound good? Are there questions right now? Cool. This first half of the lecture, I want it to be more kind of theoretical and conceptual. What we're going to do with the second half is speed up a little bit as we work with the reading, slow down a little bit with forms, and then we'll speed up again. Sound good? Are there questions from Calgary? Or can I get a no? Oh, Gelly, no. Awesome. Oh, Gregelli is still typing. Whew. Several people. Can we use this stuff here? Back. Peter says no. Can we use backtext template string HTML? I'm not exactly what you mean, Gregelli. Like, if you mean this, so if you mean inside of your route, so this one here, I'm just gonna make another one, or let me just change this one. This was res send. If you mean using backticks like that and writing a bunch of HTML, just directly in line like that, you can absolutely do this. It's just a lot of work, right? In the EJS string, sure, like you could. Let me just go. Sweet. So this works. So apparently that wasn't your question, but this works, and I'll leave that in the notes. But inside of the EJS here, like yeah, you could. This thing here would just have to be rewritten to be. I'll do this on a second line. So I'll do like 2 copies of each. This thing would have to be written to be like a template string. And then you'd go video key dash, and then videos video key. Let me unindent this so it's more legible, I guess. Like, you could do either one of these. It's really up to you what you feel you like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is technically one string right here. Yeah. No, then we could save this and check. So over on the localhost. See, they're just the same. There's just 2 different ways of mashing information together. My personal opinion is I'm already having to deal with these EJS templates. I don't personally want to bring in another one, just because it makes it confusing. But if it looks good for you, then that's good, then you can play around with it. But there's no stress, like you don't have to do this. Right. Does it need, yeah, hey friend. Does it need percent equal, or is percent just fine? So the thing about the percent is it's gonna run the code, but it won't print it to the screen. Percent equal means run the code and then print the output to the screen. So if I was to go up here just before the list and do one that says, this is a p tag that has percent and then the string hello, percent and the string hello, whereas the bottom one here has the string that says what up but an equal sign. What we're gonna see when I refresh this page is only what up. So play around to see what happens when you remove the equal sign or you add it in. The equal sign is going to say actually print the thing out. The percent is just going to say do the JavaScript. So if I did 1 + 1 + 1, like it'll actually do the JavaScript. It just won't print it. Cool. In that case, those were really good questions. Let's take a, it's 10:02, that's good, that's good time. Let's take a 10-minute break. At 10:12, we'll reconvene and continue. Sound good? In the meantime, if you want to look up YouTube videos to share, by all means. Sweet, so I'll see y'all in 10 minutes. Whoops. Oh no. I thought I was muted, but I hope Calgary didn't just randomly hear me cough. We got everyone here? Dope. Yo, what up? Welcome back. It is 10:13. We're gonna get started on the second half of lecture. This half is gonna be action-packed. I hope you did your homework. Hope you picked a couple YouTube videos and stuff, because I'm gonna need your help in actually testing this application. So I just want to wait up for like a hello or a what's up or a no, you know, any kind of expression of existence. Yo, what's up, Peter? Oh, we got Greg. Oh, oi. Oh, I love that's the dinosaur one, right? Yeah, I like how I know from the first. Yeah. Hello, Peter. Right, more than two letter. Peter's a two-letter. Peter says no. So hello. When we left at the end of the first half, what we'd done was we'd set up like read all, and what we were seeing was the video links and the video titles just being shown kind of like this. I had set up basically two methods for doing this because someone asked if we could do template strings, and you can. Afterwards, I was talking with someone, we figured out you can also technically do this and just make a string and only have one EJS. Really, it's up to you. Play around with it and see what comes out. I'm going to leave those other two in the notes, and the way that I'm going to put this into the no, stop. The way I'm going to put this into the code for us is going to be like this, like as two EJS tags. Often I might even split like that, just because I like having the thing as kind of clear as possible to me. New lines are ignored in I stopped the server. New lines are ignored in your HTML anyways, so that'll print out like this. So if this was my HTML or my EJS, it'll print out like this anyways. So I like keeping like this, but you don't have to. Now, there's a couple quality of life things that I want to start with. First of all, is you notice that I have to stop and start the server every time I change the server, and it's annoying. So you've already had a reading on this, but there's a thing called nodemon that you can use that will automatically start and stop the server when it needs to. So you can npm install nodemon globally like this, and once you've installed it, you just go nodemon and whatever command you usually ran to run your thing. So I'll go nodemon server, and it tells me, hey, it'll restart. And what's fun about it is if I go here and I save a bunch of times, or I make a bunch of, oh, whoops, not this one. If I go ahead and I save or make changes in my server, every time I save or make a change and save, my server will restart automatically. So you don't have to continue going back and forth. Yes? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a great question. For Calgary, the question was, can we have more than one terminal open so that maybe in one of them you have nodemon running and in another one you can do your Git stuff without having to shut down the server? The answer is yeah. These things are free. Make as many as you want. Woo! Right? Like, just do as many of these as you want. You can even be in Vagrant with as many terminals as you want in general. And it's something that I do recommend, to be honest. That's a good thing to do. So I have my thing running. You're gonna notice that when you do nodemon on your machine, you need to go -L, right? When you use Vagrant. There's a bug with Vagrant where it won't work unless you put -L, right? And the -L stands for make it work with Vagrant. That's what it's. L stands for legacy. for some reason, but it's the only thing that makes it work with Vagrant. So I think as part of one of your assignments, you have to put this, like a command that's similar to this, into your package JSON. It'll be nodemon -l. I'm just going to run it like this. That's one thing. The other thing is, I want you to npm install something called Morgan. And what Morgan is it's a piece of middleware. Did KV show off Morgan yesterday? Does anybody know what Morgan is? Cool. I just don't want to waste your time. What Morgan is once you've installed it, once I've installed it, and I'll put this in the notes, you can go into your server code and say app set Morgan. So I have to go const Morgan equals, let's see if I got this right on the first try. Morgan, you go set Morgan dev. Morgan is a tool that's going to console log stuff automatically to the screen every time there's an HTTP request. Every single time. Dev is just one of the configurations. So right now, if I go here, every time I make an HTTP request, Morgan should, oh wait, because it's not set. It's app use Morgan dev. App use Morgan dev. What it's going to do now is when I make requests, it prints out that GET request. Right? So if I make a bunch of GET requests, it'll print them out. Right? And that's going to be nice for you for debugging and figuring out our requests coming in. If you look at the documentation, like you can change this to a ton of other configurations like tiny. And tiny is just going to look a little bit different than dev. It's just not colorful. That's it. So I put mine on dev because I like the colors. Right. So those are the two things that I wanted to show you before we hop back in: is nodemon, which you should use, and Morgan, which I recommend playing around with. Right. Should Morgan be a dev dependency or a general one? That's a great question. Morgan should be a dev dependency, in my opinion. Right now, it wouldn't really make a difference. But it should be a dev dependency. I've just straight up installed it as a dependency. But yeah. Because since Morgan isn't like necessary for your application to work, you can keep it out of the general dependencies. Let's see, one line to use it, one line to bring it in. What we're going to do now is we're going to move over to reading just one YouTube video. Where I want to see the video link, the video title, and the video description. Now what's weird here is that my videos, they only have a title right now. So if I wanted to have a title and a description, I'm going to need to change the way that this thing looks. I'm going to need to store the title and the description. An awesome video. You need to store the title and the description. And this changes things for me because as soon as I do this, as soon as I give this a title property, so title and description, I love dogs. This went from being a string to an object. And I'm going to notice the difference immediately when I go here because I get object, object. You're going to run into this with TinyApp. If you haven't yet, I don't think you have run into it. Object, object. Because in my EJS, I need to recognize that what's happening is when I go videos, video key, I get the entire video object. This used to work before, but now I've changed my data, so I need to change my EJS to print out only the title. Does that make sense to everyone? Right? Sure, this is something that used to work. Now I've messed it up in the name of progress. That's okay. That's something you're going to find yourself doing in TinyApp like 3 times, where it'll work perfectly fine, and then the assignments will say, hey, you want to mess it up a little bit? So get hyped for tomorrow to be a little frustrating. But that's okay. So videos, video title, technically that's fine now. And now I want a server route here that's for a particular video. Now, in my notes, I might go ahead and say for read 1, the same way that I did for read all, what is my route going to be? Well, it's still going to be a get because I only want to receive videos. And instead of getting all the videos, I want a single video. I can make whatever choice I want about the path. I could go a single video, slash, and then maybe the video ID. I could do this. This is fine. But the convention is going to be videos and like the ID of the video. This is going to be our convention. So we're going to make a get request to videos slash and then an ID. Again, it's not the only way to do it, but it's the way that we'll tell you to do it for now. So I'm going to go into my server. I'm going to make sure that a route like that exists. Videos, ID, request, result, or response. I like going into here and going request.params to see what's coming in. These are all the params coming in through the request. And then I might go res.send, hold on, working on it. Okay, just because we're going to do a little bit of work first. So I've made this route. It's going to console log all the params from the request. I go ahead to videos, and maybe I go try to go videos slash 45. There isn't a video with the ID 45, but this is fine. What I'm going to see in the console is I'm going to see the params being ID 45. So rec.params is going to get me everything that I've put into the URL up here. Yep. Oh yeah, you could do all sorts of stuff. A cool word. Yeah, I could do a bunch of stuff. So here is slash ID and slash another thing. The question for Calgary was, can we have more than one param in here? The answer is absolutely. So here's ID slash a cool word. Technically now, if I make a request of 45 slash Yeezy, what I get over in the console is ID 45 and a cool word Yeezy. Does that answer that? Sweet, sweet. So yeah, you can absolutely throw whatever you want in here. For right now, all I need is an ID. Nope. Britta says, will require Morgan break the app if it is not installed with a dev dependency? Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So yeah, if you don't, so if you install it as a dev dependency, and then when you go npm install without the dev dependencies, you don't get Morgan, your code will actually break because it's going to try and load Morgan in if you haven't installed it. So this is a bit of a tangent. But technically what you will do, and this isn't something I'm going to show today, is in one way or another, you'll write code in here that'll say something to the tune of if development require Morgan. If we're in development, require Morgan, and over on this side here, it's going to say the same thing again. If we're in development, then do this. But you'll see how that works in the future, just not today. But that's a really good question. Does that make sense to everyone at a kind of high level, right? I don't want to show you the code that actually does it because it's a bit of a side conversation. Sweet. So in here, ID, what I can do with the ID is I can go ahead and I can find a video with that particular ID. I could go into videos. Videos for me is an object that I can grab videos from with an ID. So I could say, hey, videos, rec.params.id. Now, This here can be confusing to people sometimes, so I go const id equals rec.params.id. So I split it into 2 lines. Just do whatever kind of feels natural for you. Right? Don't stress yourself into writing long lines of code. Any long line of code for right now can be written as shorter lines. Right? So don't be a hero. Like no one's gonna go like, whoa, you did that whole thing in 1 line? What? You wrote Tiny App in 1 line? It's 1 billion characters, but it's what? No one's gonna be like impressed, except for you. Like, be proud of yourself. But and then I'll go const template vars equals, and then I always throw the video in here. And instead of sending this back, I'm gonna render. Maybe I'll render a thing called video. Right? I might just have a route called video, or show, not a route, a page called show video. I'm going to call mine show video right now. And I pass it the template vars. I know now that if I try to go to this URL, I'm going to run into an error that says I can't find the show video views. So I'll just go ahead and make it real quick. So we'll go and make a new thing, call this show video.ejs, boop, and save, and take all of this and put it in here. That's really weird. Is the syntax highlighting broken on one but not the other? Oh, this one's set to HTML, eh? I guess the HTML looks like my EJS thing is. Sometimes you'll find that the packages that you install are like slightly broken. So there's more than one EJS syntax highlighter. Well, it is. It's just it's breaking on this thing. So I just installed the second one. There we go. So it just happened that the second one that I installed is good. The first one is bad. Anyways, for my show video page, what I want to have in here is a particular video. So I don't need this for loop. What I can do is have the title of the video maybe up here, doing something like video.title. And when I refresh this thing, I see cool vid. Maybe underneath I want to have more information, like the an H2 that has the video ID, right? And a P tag maybe that has the video description. Oh, whoops, sorry. Video ID was not a thing in here because I didn't put it in. So you can't actually see the video ID, which is annoying. Over on my server, I can check the videos, and they don't actually have the ID written in here. So what I could do is say, hey, ID is, and then just copy this again. So I go ID, there we go. And now when I go ahead and refresh this, I get cool vid, the ID of the video, and an awesome video, which is cool. Now what's going to be neat here is that I can take some other videos, like this video here, this first one is going to be Kanye West power, and then no one man should have all that power. What? Mona? Yeah. So, if I go down to the proper video ID, which is L53GJP, get Kanye West, power, all this stuff, and I can take this embed link that they give me. I can take the embed link that they give me. It's something called an iframe. I don't even really care what it is. What I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Right here. This thing. And I'm going to replace it with boop, boop, the video ID. Neat. Go ahead and refresh. Power. No one man should have all that power. What? EJS, get out of here. Funny dog compilations, you know it. Let's do this. Funny dogs. Whoops. What's that? Greg has a question? Sweet. Yeah, check that in a sec. If I go ahead and I do dogs are great. I love dogs, and now we have that in there. It's dynamic. What? What? Let's see what Greg says. For industry, is EJS the most prolific view engine, or should we move on to others as you progress? I mean, for industry, honestly, what I've seen is Pug a lot. Pug happens to be popular, but they're all the same, right? EJS, Pug, they do the same thing. They just have slightly different syntax. There's another thing called Haml. Haml, where you end up writing your thing. See how this is like sort of like EJS? It's a thing called ERB. You can take this and you rewrite it over like this. They're all technically the same thing. You just shift the syntax. It's not like there's new concepts. You're going to be working with EJS in this project. But you're going to see that in the next project in Tweeter, you're working with something called jQuery, which is not a templating engine, but is going to do some of the work that we're doing right now in a different way. And then afterwards in week 6, you're going to see React. And React's going to do it again in a completely different way, right? As far as just like express view engines, I think EJS happens to be one of the most popular. So it's like good to kind of learn it. And this is going to be like stuff that builds on top as you learn other tools as well. I hope that's a good answer for what you're looking for. If not, we can continue talking about that. Cool, so we have the ability now to view a particular video. And I want to go here and go read all, that was done. Check. Read one, that's also done. Check. I'm going to go ahead and try to create a new video now. Right? I know that a video needs a video link, a video title, and a video description. So, this is where I said that things are going to get a little frustrating. Right? We're going to be dealing with forms. I'm going to be dealing with forms. I'm going to do this in 2 ways. First of all, when I create, I need a way to see a creation form. Right? Like a new video form. I need to actually see that form. If I think of this form as a piece of resource, that means I need something that says, get the form. Get the new video form. Which is going to be its own route. So this idea of creation is going to be split into 2 things for me right now. Again, this isn't the only way to do this, but that's how I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to have 2 routes. One that says get the video form, and another one that tells the backend to create a thing. Does that make sense? So get the video form, this is going to get me the form for a new video. And the form should have a video link, title, and description. So this here, being its own route, it's going to be a GET request to receive the form. And the route that I'll make it to, again, I could pick anything. I could pick anything. But what I'm going to pick is, at the moment, /videos/new. I've just decided that that's what I'm going to do. I could also, if I wanted to, do new video. Right? Anything I want. This is my choice for now. So I'm going to go to my server. I'm going to make a new route called videos new, and this one here is going to take a request and a response, and what it's going to do is it's going to render the new video page. Again, new video page doesn't exist, but I can test this out. I can go here and say, okay, well, when I go to Kanye, that's what I get. And when I get to new, that's what I get. I go ahead and I make my thing for a new video. So, new file, new video EJS. Just pick the correct thing here. Boop. And what I need over here is I need a form. I'm going to make an H1 that says new video. Right, I'm going to test to make sure that works, and it does. That's cool. And I'm going to throw in a form tag. Notice that when I put in a form element here, I don't actually see anything new on the screen. If I go ahead and I inspect, the form exists in there, but it's empty. Now, in forms, I can do a couple things. The first thing that I might do is give a bunch of inputs. So I might give an input type text. There's a bunch of types of inputs, but for right now, I'm just going to work with text. So here's an input type text. Lets me write stuff in it. I want 3 of these because one of them is going to be an ID, right? So let me go here and I'm just going to go P ID. Another thing I can do? Boop, ID. And I'm going to do the same thing with all of them. Whoops. I'm going to do the same thing with all of them, but one's going to be ID, another one's title, and then the other one here is going to be description. ID, title, and description. Now, what I want to also be able to do with this form is not just fill in a bunch of stuff, but also submit. If I give this thing here an input with type submit, whoops, no, this should be an input with type submit, what I end up getting is a button. By default, it's going to be just in there, submit. And I'm going to notice something happening when I click on this. What's happening? I know it's really teeny tiny, but notice if I write something in here and I go submit, it clears everything. Right? So submit is going to automatically just refresh the page. It's going to make a request to the page as it is. Not only that, but what submit's going to do by default is it's going to grab all of the names inside of the inputs. So if I give this input the name ID, and I give this input here the name title, and I do the same thing with this one here, I go name description. The order of name and type doesn't make a difference. I've just put it first so they're just closer to the left for me. ID, title, and description, what I'm going to see here is when I fill in this stuff and I submit, my browser automatically puts that stuff up here. So when you click submit, your browser is going to go and grab all of the information from the form, pack it together, and make a GET request. Automatically, it'll make a GET request without asking you. You can override that. I want to make a different kind of request. I want to make a different kind of request. So the only way that the browser can grab the information is if I give the inputs a name. That's the first thing. I need to give them a name. For me to override the request that I'm making, what I do is I go into the form and I give it an action. I can give it an action and I can give it a method. My method might be something like post. My only two options from the browser right now are going to be get and post. So that's a limitation of how forms work. I know that when you were learning HTTP, we said get, post, put, patch, delete. But from these forms, we can only do get and post. It's unfortunate, but that's all we can do right now. If I'm creating a new video, I want this to be a post request. Post is for creation of new stuff. Now, I don't have a post route somewhere already, but I'm going to have to make one. And I can make this action be genuinely anything I want. I'm going to leave it blank right now. What happens now when I refresh this page is as I put stuff in and I submit, I get cannot post videos new. Because my form right now is trying to post, because I said do a post, it's trying to post to the route that it was already on. Going to try and post with a route that it was already on. Now, I'm going to change how this works. Instead of posting with the route that way, I'm going to post to /videos. I'm going to decide that the new route that I want to use for creation is going to be post /videos. And this is, again, a convention. It's a convention that we're going to follow. It says, hey, when you want to create something, post to /videos. You could decide to make this a new video, right? But the convention is videos. Yeah. Yep. You mean like post, get, all that stuff? Yeah, so the question here is post part of the route? The answer, I guess, is yes. The way you hear some people say it is that this part here is the path, and this part is the verb, and together they make up a route. That might be that might be, I guess, language that makes sense. If I say this is the path, this is the verb, and then together they make up a route. I want to go ahead and I want to make a post route. App.post for videos. Request, response. I'm just going to console log right now. I am making a new video. I'm not even going to send back a response. I mean, I could go res.send, hold on, because I haven't finished making this yet. And what I'm going to see now is when I try to make a request, I go, here's my new video, here's my title, and here's my description. When I submit, I'm getting hold on. Over in my server, I am making a new video, and Morgan even shows me that I got a post request. Now, I want to grab the information that was sent from the form. That's what I want to grab. You're going to notice that if I remove the send, the request is never going to be complete. And that's nice for me because I want to see something inside of the network. So let me show you this here. If I go submit, what I end up seeing in my network request is a post to videos. I can click this open, and I can scroll down, and I can see that here is the form data that's being passed. Right, so that's going to be under the network tab. If you click on the particular one that's happening, you can see the form data. I want to be able to access this form data on the server side. This form data is deeply embedded inside of the request. It's very deep in there. If I console log the request and dig through it, I could eventually find it. But the thing is, we want an easy way to access that information. So I'm going to bring in a piece of middleware called body parser. What body parser is going to do is it's going to read post data. It's going to find the form values, and it's going to put them in a convenient place for me to grab them. So I'll do this first with body parser, then I'll take body parser out to see what happens when I don't have it in. To use body parser, do you mind closing the door real quick? To use body parser, we're going to have to start by npm installing it. So I can go into my terminal, I can go npm install body parser. Once it's installed, I can bring it into my project. I can go const body parser equals require body parser. And then there's one particular thing that I need to do here, which I forgot the syntax for, so I'm going to grab it. This line right here. In the same way that I can set the view engine and I can use Morgan Dev, I can also use body parser. It's got some default, some configuration that I'm setting here. Don't mess with it right now. Body parser can be used in a couple different ways, and the way we have it set right now is so that it'll read the form data nicely. What I'm going to find after bringing that code in, right, which I know right now just feels like magic code, what I'm going to find is that when I go and on being asked to create a video, console log I'm making a new video, I can console log rec.body. And this is going to print out all of the information. So let me start off the server again. That's going to print out all of the information that my form had sent. I go check my terminal right now and I get ID, title, and description over on the server side. What format is this in? What kind of thing is this? What's that? It's an object. So you can deal with it as an object. Right? This is just an object. There's nothing funky about it. If you're comfortable with objects, then you're comfortable with rec.body. So if I wanted to get the title, I want to get the ID, I want to get that stuff, I can go const, title equals rec.body.title. I can do the same thing with the description and the ID. And title, description, ID. And now I'm going to want to take the video and put it inside of my database. Here are all my videos. What kind of thing is videos? What's that? It's an object. So I can store something in my videos as I would store anything into an object. Videos, I could give it a key. But this key is going to be dynamic. It's going to have to be the ID of the thing. So I'm going to say, hey, videos, here's the ID that I'm storing with the key, and here's the thing that I'm storing in videos. I'm storing a new ID, I'm storing a new title, and I'm storing a new description. Does this idea make sense? I don't want to rush through this. In the database. Right? Notice that we use, because ID is dynamic. So video's ID is going to have that, and then what I might render is maybe a page that says thanks for submitting, but what I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to redirect. I'm going to say that every time somebody submits a new video, I want to redirect them to the videos page. Now it might feel like I pulled redirect just like out of a hat or like out of nowhere. I didn't. It's in the docs, and I'm telling you about it now. There's a bunch of things that you can do with res. You can do res.send, res.render, res.redirect, res.json. There's many things. But you don't need to be overwhelmed by it. Just use whatever you need at the time. So here I'm redirecting, and I'm saying, okay, when somebody posts a new video, so I'm going to go ahead and take this one here, which is wrapping deconstructed by Vox. There you go. That's the ID. Wrapping deconstructed. Vox. A great video. Actually really good. And I submit, and it'll take me back to the videos page. What? Video's been added. Amazing. I go ahead and I go to that ID now. And I got that in there. Now, I'm going to do two quick things to make this more usable, and then I'm going to unleash it to you to play with for a minute, and then we're going to do editing real quick and deleting. Right? This lecture is going to go over by like 5 minutes, if that's okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to edit my videos page. I'm going to edit my videos page just to have one useful thing at the top. One is going to be a button, or an ahref that says new video. And this is going to be a link to videos/new. That's the first thing. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make each video a link itself. Each video is going to be a link linking to the video page. /videos/. And then what should I put on this side if I want to link to the particular video page? The video ID, right? I don't have the video ID on hand as like I know what number it is. But what I do have is the video key. So I could go /videos, and then in here I could go %= video key % to make that link dynamic. So I'll go back to my original thing. Each one of these is now a link. This one is a link that takes me to the new video page. And this one is a link that takes me to the particular video page. Right. What I want to do real quick is give you the chance to play around with this, just to test it real quick. So if you have your laptop open, that's cool. I'm going to give you a link. And this goes for both Calgary and Vancouver. What? Calgary gets the first one. So Calgary gets that, and then Vancouver, y'all get this. Ooh, wait, let me edit that. It shouldn't be that. It should be edit /videos. So if you go to that link, what you should get is my videos page. And if you go and grab the ID of a particular video from YouTube, you can add it in here and just kind of see what happens. Oh, too many connections. All right, we're going to get some people, but maybe not everyone. It's good. It's stress testing. Luckily, I happen to have this here. So I guess the 10 lucky people who managed to connect to it. I'm going to give Vancouver a different link, maybe. Oh, man. Did anybody manage to make it? You didn't get it? Can you put up your hand if you managed to make it in? You did. 2 people. All right. And probably some people in Calgary? Maybe not. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to turn the thing off, and it won't work for Calgary, and I feel really bad. I will figure it out by the time we have a next a lecture together. But for here, I'm going to go like that. And just port. Cool. So I've just picked a new port, and I'm gonna it'll only work for Vancouver, and I'm really sorry. So our link is going to be this. That, which will take you directly to my machine. So if people in Vancouver could just try it real quick, want to see if this works. You're in. Nice. All right. See if we end up getting anything through here. Feel free to go through the new video flow. Oh, we got Yi. And Yi is the most important thing. You've had this one up your sleeve this whole time. Yeah. What else do we have in here now? Dog and capybara. Oh, this is gonna be really cute. Here's a capybara, which honestly are like big tailless squirrels, right? Or am I alone in thinking that? Because they are rodents. And oh, looks like those are the 2 videos that we got in. Right. Now, we have 2 more things that we're going to do with this real quick, and it's actually not going to end up being too much work. The first one is I want to be able to edit a video. Now, I could do this in several ways, but the way that I'm going to choose to do this is I'm going to put a form on this page. I'm going to put a form on this page that lets me edit. I've already built a form. I built a form for new video, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy. And I get to go ahead into show video, and I can paste this in. It's just that this one here is not going to be for a new video. It's going to be for editing a video. So now I have a form down here if I wanted to edit. I might, if I edit the ID, it'll like mess everything up. But what I'm going to work on is maybe editing the title or the description. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose my route to be a post to /videos, because I'm only allowed to make posts from my HTML form. Unfortunately, I can't do put. Right, the internet just doesn't let me do that right now. I'm going to go actions, videos, and then in here, I'm going to embed the video ID. Oh, whoops. Oh, my God. I'm going to embed the video ID. That's my action. It's going to be post, videos, and then the ID. I'm not going to leave the ID in the form. I'm going to let people change the title and the description. And you see now when I write something in here and I go submit, I don't have a post for that route just yet. But we'll make it. The other thing that I want to do is I want to give default values to these two form parts. Inputs actually let you do that. Inputs, I think it's value. Thank you. I was going to go default value, and that's something else. I can go value, and I can put in whatever I want in here, including the video title. And I can do the same thing for the video description. When I look at this now, the title and the description are by default put in there. So I know that that data is being passed when I do the submission, because I looked at how forms worked before. If I wanted to double check, right, I could check into the network settings and see what's going on there. I now get to make a new post route, which honestly, I think I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to go app.post /videos/ID. Here's what I do with the request and the response. And what I do with the request and the response is actually really similar to what I did when I created the video. Notice I just straight up copied and pasted, right? Just copy, paste. But the thing is, I'm not going to get the ID from the body because it's not in the form. I'm going to get the ID from the params because they're up here. Does that make sense to everyone? I can get the title from the form, and I can get the description from the form. So this is, again, from the form. And then I can update the video in the database. And notice that updating has the same syntax as inserting into an object. Videos ID, here's the title, and here's the description. And then I could choose to redirect to videos, or I could choose to redirect to videos / the ID. So what this is going to do is it's going to redirect me back to the same video page. So I go back here, I edit this to say Nima West, submit, and I've updated it. Now we've got the updating. We got create, read, update. What's the last one that we need? Destroy. Delete. Again, there's a couple ways that I can do this. You make sure that Calgary has not asked any questions. There's a couple ways to do this, but the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to put a button, and this is up to you. Actually, in TinyApp, we tell you where to put it, but when you build your applications in general, it's up to you where you want to put it. I'm going to put mine right underneath the description. It's going to be a form. So it's going to be a form. This form is going to have a single input. The input is a submit. It's going to have, I think I can put in a value of destroy. Bam. And now check. And I get a button that says destroy. And what I'm going to do with that button, or that form, is I'm going to give this an action of post. Right? Unfortunately, I can't do deletes. Right? Just like how I can't do puts, I can't do deletes. I'm going to have to do post. I'm going to have to pick a, whoops, this should be a method. I'm going to pick an action. And my action is going to be /videos /the ID / maybe destroy or delete. And if I want to grab the ID, I can just take this and paste that in. Again, I just invented a route for myself. When I go ahead and I do this, and I press destroy, that doesn't exist, so I'm going to have to go create it. A route at videos delete. So I go to my server, I go app.post videos, and then this is going to be ID delete. Here's what I do with it. And deleting is going to be surprisingly simple. You can delete a single thing in an object with the word delete. Boop. I can get the ID, and then I can say delete from that database, and then I'm going to go res.redirect to /videos. Right? Delete from the database. So I'm going to end this now. I'm going to go here. Here is, we're going to start off by /videos. So these are all the videos that exist. I go into Kanye West Power. I edit it into Nima West Power. Submit. Here are all the changes. I go ahead and I destroy, and that video is no longer there. We have now done all of the CRUD actions. All of them. I made my way through that checklist. Create, read. We can read one, we can read many, update, and destroy. Cool. That's really it. I know this lecture went over like 10. Thanks for sitting through it. Do you feel like you learned something from this? Cool. I'm going to be sending out lecture notes real soon. And are there any questions from Vancouver or from Calgary? Oh, Dan. No questions, just the thanks. Thanks to you too. Great. Have a great rest of the day. You have no breakout today. Enjoy the sun. Just work near a window or something. Yeah. So, take care.